Hi there. Before I get started with today's video, I just wanted to make a quick announcement about two links that are in the description below. Number one, I'm starting a dedicated live streaming channel. It's called the Coach Stream. I hope you'll join it. Future streams will be on that channel exclusively. And over the next week or so, I'll try to migrate the live streams that I've done on my main channel over to the Coach Stream channel. So please subscribe to it, and here's the kicker. I'm going to be starting a live stream show on Monday, next Monday. I forget the date. I think Monday, March 11th. And I'm going to be starting it. It'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. And it's just going to be a comfy stream. A comfy stream where I'm going to be talking about mostly finance and what's going on in the realms of Wall Street, the bond markets, and what have you. Because I spend a disproportionate amount of my time looking at those things during the day. And I don't have an outlet to talk about it. So I figure I'll use the Coach Stream to talk about it. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go check it out. And like I said, it'll start Monday and it'll be a daily show. Okay? Okay. And the second announcement, or the second thing I wanted to bring to your attention, is that the Indiegogo campaign for Wilshire Boulevard has been going gangbusters. And I urge you to check it out. There are a bunch of videos there that describe the project, and I read some of the material of the book. The book will be published on May 15th, but advanced reading copies will be sent to Indiegogo supporters on April 15th. I do hope you'll help me out on this campaign. The reviews so far have been really good. And and I'm going to be doing more conversations with other YouTubers about the novel in the next few days. So go check it out. Okay? Okay, that's it. That's it. So, without further ado, here's today's video. You want to succeed? Well, what you need is discipline. You don't need brains and you don't need money to succeed. You just need discipline. You have discipline and you can conquer the world. See, I love Aesop's fables. They're just so human and true. You know, these silly little fables that talk about the truth of human beings. The other day I did a video about sour grapes and the fox who tried to get to the sour grapes, or the grapes that were hanging there, and he couldn't get them and finally said, fuck them, they're probably sour, right? It's a great little fable. And here's another one. The tortoise and the hare. It's an incredibly simple story. It's a wonderful story. So the tortoise is slow, of course, and the hare is super fast, of course. And so the hare is like lording it over the tortoise. And the tortoise says, fuck it, let's have a race. I bet I'll beat you. And the hare, of course, says, sure, let's have a race. I'll probably win, of course. And so they start. And the hare, of course, is much faster. And, he runs half the distance of the race, while the tortoise is just plodding along, one foot after the next, and very slowly but surely getting to the end line, right? The hare gets halfway to the goal and decides to, take it easy. He has a nap because he figures, hey, I'm going to beat the tortoise anyway, right? And what happens? Well, the hare oversleeps and the tortoise keeps on trucking along and the tortoise wins. So what's the lesson, of course? Well, the lesson is quite obvious. You don't need to be the fastest to win the race. You just need to be consistent. You need to be disciplined. You see, when I was growing up, I was smart. And I knew that I was smart, and I was smarter than most of the other kids in my class, if not all of the other kids in my class. And so what did I do? Did I study? Did I do my homework every day like you're supposed to? Of course not. I figured I'd get A's, just by paying a little bit of attention in class and, like studying really hard the night before the test. And that worked fine for a remarkable number of years. Yeah, it certainly did. Through most of elementary school and high school, that was how I quote unquote studied. And I'd get by with an A or an A minus, or sometimes a B plus, but I did all right. But then I got to college, and that's when I really had to study. I had to study every day. I had to have that discipline. And of course I didn't have it. I didn't have that discipline because I'd never been taught that discipline, because I'd just gotten by on my talent. And of course, I failed the first time I went to college. Oh yeah. I got booted out because of grades, because I couldn't keep up, because I wasn't disciplined. And that's the key lesson. Talent will get you so far. And the worst part is that if you're very talented, you get suckered into thinking that talent will get you all the way. But talent is never enough. Talent, brains, ability, it's never enough. What you need to succeed is discipline. The ability to set aside everything else in your life, everything that interests you, just set it aside and focus on the one thing and do it consistently over and over and over again. Not so bright kids, not so talented kids, they learn that early. You know those diligent Asian kids, right? They're not very bright, but they have been taught by their parents. Sometimes, they've been whipped by their parents into learning that you have to study every day. You have to study every day. You have to do your homework every day. You have to do it all the time, over and over. And that's how you win, because that is how you win. You win by being steady, by being disciplined, by doing it every day, by controlling yourself. And this goes back to what it means to be a man. Because what do I tell you guys? Being a man is being able to control your emotions, control your fight or flight response, control your impatience and boredom, right? That's another emotion. Control your emotions and use your reason, your logic, your experience to chart your path, to have your reason and your logic and your intellect dictate the path that you're on. That's what it means to be a man. And that's discipline. It's the same thing. It's the same concept. The discipline in your work, in your studies, and whatever you're doing, you have to figure out a way to train yourself if you don't have it. Because like I said, the smart kids, the talented kids, they're the ones who lack the discipline. It's the sort of like the average kids, sometimes below average. They're the ones who learn discipline because discipline is all they got. Just like the tortoise and the hare. The hare has more talent. He's faster than the tortoise. But the tortoise has consistency and discipline. He sticks to it. He doesn't run ahead and then after a little while gets bored and sits under a tree and takes it easy for a little while, confident that he can win the race at the end. He knows, because he's slow, that he has to be consistent in order to win the race. And that's how you have to be. Now, how do you teach yourself discipline? That's the trick. The way you teach yourself discipline is by doing the little things. The little things. Starting small. Starting with the little things that will get you on the path to being a disciplined man. All right? Now, what do I mean like the little things? Like, for instance, like you're getting up at like fucking 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, fucking noon, right? Set yourself the goal of getting up bright and early at 8 every morning. And set yourself that as a task. And set yourself up the goal that you're going to go to sleep early so that you can make it and wake up at 8 in the morning. That little thing. Then once you're getting up at a fucking reasonable hour, like you ought to be getting up at a reasonable hour, well, then you move on to the bigger things. You start like controlling your diet, getting disciplined about your diet, okay? Eating healthy food, vegetables, fruits, not the crap that you're eating, at Chipotle or McDonald's, or the crap that is delicious, of course, and that's why you eat it, but is shitty for you. It's the little steps, the little everyday steps. But in my case, the thing that helped me the most in terms of discipline, in terms of acquiring discipline, is something very simple. It's finding out the things that you really enjoy doing and figuring out a way to get that thing that you really enjoy doing to be the thing that earns you money. Okay? Why? Because if you can figure out the thing that you really enjoy and it earns you money or helps you in some way in your life, right? What you'll find is that, you'll be able to devote a lot of time to that naturally because you enjoy it. And it's productive, of course. And then once you realize that you're spending all this time, you'll be able to manage that time and discipline yourself in that craft. You see what I mean? Let me give you an example. Suppose you really like woodworking, okay? You really enjoy woodworking, and you're moderately good at it. It doesn't matter if you're good or not. You really enjoy woodworking and you have no problem devoting hours and hours to woodworking, to building furniture, a bed, a chair, whatever, right? Set yourself the goal of making a dinette set, and you're going to sell it. You're going to make it out of wood, and you're going to make it nice and clean and crispy and beautiful and all the rest of it, and set yourself the goal that you're going to manufacture it yourself, make it by hand yourself, and you're going to sell it, okay? Now, at first, this is going to be like easy to do because you like doing woodworking. But after a while, it's going to be harder and harder because, of course, it's difficult. And it takes a long time to build, 4 or 6 chairs and a nice table, right? It'll take time, and you're going to have to force yourself to complete it. And as you force yourself to complete this dinette set, as you force yourself to go, not really when you feel like going, but because you have to go from 8 in the morning to fucking 6 in the evening to the shop in order to build it, right? You're going to naturally acquire the discipline to do it. And it'll be a struggle. Of course it's a struggle. Everything good in life is difficult to acquire, including discipline. But the thing is, see, discipline ultimately is the most important thing. It's the most important thing in your life because at the end of the day, talent is never enough. Not for anything. Talent, brains, ability, it is just never enough to get to the upper echelons of whatever it is you want to accomplish. I mean, I wish it were so. I wish it were just brains were enough. But no, you got to acquire the discipline, and you have to practice discipline, because that's the thing. It's practice. Forcing yourself to do things that you do not want to do at some point. You just don't feel like it. But it's something that you have to acquire. You have to acquire discipline, because if not, you're just going to become an also-ran. How many guys do you know that are incredibly good in high school? They're incredibly talented, they're this, that, the other. And everything peaks for them in high school. But after that, it's just a slow fade down the toilet. How many guys do you know like that? Yeah, I know plenty. Because what's going on here? See, what's going on is very simple. See, the guys in high school, they peaked and they coasted. They didn't work at whatever it is they were good at. They were good at football, say, and they just let it there. They didn't strive for more. They didn't strive to be better so that they could make it into the college circuit or maybe go pro. No, they didn't do that. They were good enough in high school, and so they left it there and they didn't practice. They were good enough for whatever. They were musicians, they were writers, they were this, that, the other. It does not matter what it was. But you know those guys. They peak in high school, and then nothing happens. High school, in a very real sense, is sort of like a metaphor for life. Because you're going to find, as you get older and you go through your 20s and your 30s, you're going to meet guys like that. The guys who peaked in their mid-20s or their early 30s. And they could have been more. They could have been big time. But they didn't have the discipline. And see, in my own case, I know there are a few things in my life that I peaked when I was young. I peaked when I was young, and I could have been a lot bigger at them, but I lacked the discipline. And it's a regret I have. Sure, I could have been very big in certain fields that I pursued when I was younger. I pursued them and I got to a certain level of success, but because of my own lack of discipline, I failed to achieve the promise that my talent had. You know, I could have been big. I could have been a contender, but frankly, my lack of discipline. You know, I got to a level high enough because of my talent and ability, but then going really up there, really getting to the top, I failed. And it was because of lack of discipline. So learn from my mistake. Learn from what I'm telling you. See, I could have been a lot bigger in different fields, but I lacked the discipline. I lacked the stick-with-itness. I lacked the consistency. The consistency that comes from discipline, from doing it every day, day after day, whether I like it or not. I did a video called Grind It Out. You can find it right here. Yeah, you got to grind it out. You got to just grit your teeth and just muscle your way through. Because there are going to be most days when you do not want to do something. You just don't feel like it. You want to do fucking other things. You want to watch TV, play video games, go out and chase girls, whatever the fuck. Of course, most days you're going to want to do that, right? But you got to stick with it. You got to be consistent. You got to be disciplined, or else you will not achieve anything in life, and you'll be just an also-ran. It's a 10-year reunion from high school, right? And you go there and you talk to those guys who just never amounted to much, and they're still in the same old job that they were in high school. They thought they were so fucking cool, right? And you feel kind of like contempt for them, right? Yeah, and justifiably so, because a guy who's still in high school mentally when he's 28 fucking years old, that's kind of pathetic, right? Of course, and you look down on that guy. It's perfectly reasonable for you to do so, right? But do you want to be that guy that people look down at with contempt when you're 40, when you're 50, when you could have been something but lacked the discipline? Do you?